Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that one of our admin received, and the translation, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a young South African woman and I am trying to find my way to Christ. I need your advice. So I approached this other pastor with my own life story, but the thing that happened is that we ended up sleeping together. And I hate myself for ever doing such a thing. And I want you to help me understand if it was because of me or if it was because of the pastor simply lusting for me. Because whenever I go down on my knees, I start to think about the pastor's wife, and then I hear voices, like literally I do hear voices, as if in that room where I will be in, there will be someone else that will be standing in front of me, accusing me. It once happened, I think it was a few weeks ago when we were in church. That was when the other pastor was busy preaching. Whilst he was preaching, I just looked at the pastor that I slept with only for about a second, and then I started to lose focus. I started thinking about all the times that we slept together from the time that I gave him my confession. And then when I was thinking about it, then I started to regret the things that the pastor was talking about as he was preaching. Those things, I could not even get them into my heart like I was doing. I started to hear another voice, as if the person who was sitting right next to me was telling me that I am such a bad person. How can I chase this voice away, the voice that keeps on accusing me? For I cannot take it anymore. I had decided to give my life to Christ, but here I am. Whenever I try to focus on Christ, I hear a voice telling me that I do not deserve to be a Christian, but I deserve to be in the club drinking beer with different men. And when I do that over the weekend, when I go to sleep out drinking beer with countless men, then I hear a faint voice that will be telling me that this is home for you, this is where you belong. And even though I grew up in Alexandra, but then my stepdad, he took me and I started staying with him in another area. Unfortunately, he ended up sleeping with me when I was around about 12. It was so painful. I did not even know what else was I supposed to do, because as for my mom, she was never there. My mom was a pure alcoholic, and it was a form of a rescue that my stepdad had done. He was good when he had done that by rescuing me, and he took me into his home, started staying with his new wife. But when I started to develop as a young woman, the breast as well as the body figure, he then started to lust after me and told me not to worry, for what he was doing, other men were doing the same things to their daughters. So I became a damaged good from the very young age. I started to take advantage of my teachers at school, especially the male ones, because they thought that here I was just an innocent young girl, not knowing that I was already used to sleeping with the men. I would do things that would seduce them until finally the man will come to me scared, thinking that if he tells me that he wants to sleep with me, I'll end up reporting the person. But no, what I will do is that I'll just demand money from that person and even threaten to go to the police, but knowing that all that I want was just money. Even though I sat for my matric, but still it was just a way of me finishing my high school. From there on, I started staying with another older guy. They had came to our area as they were busy fixing the roads. This guy proposed love to me, started staying with him, and I moved around with him until I fell pregnant, and then I gave birth to my daughter at a very young age. I do come from a very poor family, and my mom, even up until this day, she is still addicted to alcohol. All that she care about is when she is drinking a Black Label, nothing else. As for my stepdad, he is the man that has been there for me currently, as we are speaking, he tries to make sure that even my daughter is well taken care of, and I just go around sleeping with different men on different occasions until this other time when I was with a weird guy. So this guy, he came to me and he picked me up from the streets, because when I am not in expensive clubs, I'll be hanging around with other girls that usually sell their bodies on the street. Well, it is quite cheap, but I do that when I know that I am totally broke. So I was there just waiting for my clients to come. That was when this guy came along and he said that he wanted me. I got into his vehicle, and when I was in there, that was when I realized that the guy, he was a crippled guy. We then went to his place. This man, he told me that he wanted me to seduce him, to do whatever to him, for he was crippled. I did everything that he wanted, but when I was about to sleep with him, that was when something told me to switch on the light, and when I did, I found out that there was nobody on the bed, yet I was with this crippled man on the bed. And when I looked around, I could not find him. Then I just dropped down dead. I woke up the next morning and I found myself, I was outside of his house. How he had managed to get me out of his house to this very day, I really do not know. Those were some things that I could not understand that made me to get so scared, because throughout the night I have no memory of what happened. All that I could feel when I touched myself was that there was something that wanted to come out of my private part, and it meant that I had been penetrated, because it was hot down there throughout the night, as if the person had never given me no rest at all. And when I arrived home, when I started to bath, there was some fluids that came out. I expected to see men's sperm that had been deposited into my body, but no, I saw something black fluids that were flowing out. During that month when I was on my period, that was the most painful period that I had ever had in my entire life, until something small that was black came mixed with dark red blood, and the pain just went away. So I said it is far much better for me to leave this business of being a slay queen, and I then chose this other community church because I knew where the pastor was staying. I went there and I told him that I wanted to speak with him, and when I was speaking with him, he then told me to confess. He said, confess, tell me everything, I will understand. When I started to tell him my story, he asked me how many men that I had ever slept with, and he said that he understood after I told him that I don't even remember. I can't count, because I started to do this since I was 12 years old. The man then said that I was very attractive, in which I found it to be very weird. Then the guy offered me money and said, go and buy some nice things for your daughter. He started being there for me financially until he requested that we meet at this other restaurant. When we were there, he said, no, let us put all the formalities aside. It is you and I here. He was even calling me his babe, until I got into him and he was into me, and he promised me something better, and then we slept together. So I am here. I want your listeners to assist me. Did this pastor take advantage of me? Even if he took advantage of me, but why is there a voice that keeps on accusing me whenever I feel like I have to go down on my knees and to beg God for forgiveness, because I want to give my life to Christ? Because whenever I try to do that, what happens is that I hear a voice that will be accusing me. I regret leaving school. I regret being born by my mom, who is an alcoholic. I regret all the sacrifices that I have done. For all of them, they have gone to waste. And most of all, I don't even recognize myself. I don't know, what am I supposed to do? I regret being a slay queen. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin who helped us with this translation. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.